Welcome back to the D1Softball podcast, part of the Learfield Family and Varsity Network. I'm Jenna Becerra with my favorite co-host, Amanda Lorenz. And before we jump in, quick reminder that when you're out of town and you want to keep up with live college sports, be sure to download the free Varsity Network app, available for both Apple and Android. Get your games on the go with the Varsity Network app. I would say now more than ever, too, just going into conference tournaments, postseason, etc. You can get a lot of games on there. So just saying. But Amanda, we have a lot of games to talk about, both that happened already and then are coming up. More great softball, even in the home stretch here.
Yeah, we're in the final stretch. It's seriously crazy. I cannot believe we're entering our final series weekends before conference tournaments.
It's wild. How is mayhem almost here? Like, what?
The fact that mayhem is almost here is truly mayhem.
Yeah, there. You know what? You said it. Perfectly summed up.
Perfect.
It's so true. For today's lineup, we'll touch on the new top 25 rankings. We'll jump into the Week 12 recap and then head into our interview with Oklahoma sophomore Ella Parker, who is the best. We're so excited for you to see that.
Yes.
And then our plays of the week and our win and whiff of the week. All right, Amanda, we ready?
Let's do it.
All right, top 25. Here we come. So lots of movement, some interesting movement as well based on what happened in Week 12. So let's just look at it really quick. First of all, so if we take a look, we are back to Oklahoma reascending to the top spot. They are back at number 1 after sweeping rival Texas, and they're now also in sole possession of first place in the SEC standings. Tennessee right at number 2 after they got the series win at Ole Miss, and then Arkansas jumps to number 3 after a series win over A&M in College Station. The Aggies fell a couple spots to number 4, and 5 Florida State rounds out the top 5. So interesting because no new teams joined the poll. Things shifted around, but for the first time this season, the same 25 programs are ranked in back-to-back weeks. The SEC still leading the way with 11 teams in the poll. The ACC was 6, Big Ten 4, Big 12 2, and then the WAC and the American have 1 team each with GCU and FAU respectively. So there's a lot going on here in this poll. I feel like we say that every week, but that's because a lot's been going on every week. Mm-hmm. So Amanda, your just initial reactions to what we looked at.
Yeah, my initial reactions is the fact that we are like so close to the end of the season, and that's usually when the polls seem to stay generally the same week to week. And I feel like we have not experienced any of that all season long, which I love it, right? It's like a lot of parody, a lot of drama, as you could say. Like the game does not know who's supposed to win, and our game is just continues to get better. There's definitely not a clear team that's been consistent each week of the season that it's like without a doubt they're number 1. Obviously after last week, easy to say that OU at this point is the number 1 team in the country because of the way that they played against Texas. Huge. Like I felt like they found their stride and everything was clicking for them, and everything was not clicking for the Longhorns. So it definitely was like the perfect storm. But yeah, like you said, it's just same 25 teams are ranked, but it just also does not look the same at all. And it's just so interesting. It's going to make postseason even crazier. The committee has never had a tougher job to really define the top 16 seeds. Like that's going to be incredibly hard because you very well can almost have like anybody in the top 13, like be a top 8 seed. So it's going to be a really tough postseason. Those brackets are going to be crazier than we've ever seen before, in my opinion. So those are my initial thoughts, but just crazy that anyone can beat anyone on any given day.
It's so true. The selection show will be the most nail biting, I feel, in a long time, like you said.
And I already feel like it's that, like,
right.
My heart is racing always throughout Selection Sunday. Like, where are teams going to be going? Like, I cannot wait. There's always a storyline, like, and this year is going to be insane.
Yeah. The way that the regions could turn out. Like, I'm thinking about too, even some former conference foes, maybe some previous Pac-12 schools who might be in the same regional, for example, let alone supers, how some conference schools, go head to head, like
And I
those
didn't even
types of
think about
changes.
that. You're so right.
It's
Oh my
crazy.
God. It's
Because think about it too with like the location, the geography matters, right? Like does Cal get sent to UCLA or does, some of these crazy
let's
things.
go.
So
It's going to be so fun.
yeah, we're in for it. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Wow.
But I feel like looking back at this too, if you look at Clemson at number 12, after the way that they started,
Yeah.
it's been really cool to see how they've evolved throughout this season. They had a rough Clearwater, and I saw that in person. And we all knew too, post Valerie Calu era, people had questions about the program, right? But since then, 38-6 since that tournament on the season. So they have really put it together. They had a 19-0 win over Georgia Tech this past weekend, which is the largest shutout in program history. Like they've hit that 40 win mark this season. I'm really interested to see how they come out after having a bye weekend before they actually go to the ACC tournament, because that like momentum, right, where people are taking finals and sometimes like they get a break, you want to keep that momentum going, but they're going to have to take that break before going into the tournament. So I think that part's interesting too.
That's tough. That's definitely a lot on their coaching staff and their players to figure out how to have quality practices without going too hard on the body to make sure that you keep this good mo that they've got going on, because you're right. It's been really incredible to see them. I don't want to say turn it around, but obviously they were really trying to find out their identity, especially during preseason and a little bit of the regular season. But wow, they've had such a strong second half. They look so good against Tennessee. And obviously that Tennessee play to end the game was almost my whiff of the week. It was almost my whiff of the week, but ended up choosing another Clemson moment, which you'll see later. But yeah, it seemed really evenly matched and taking advantage of Tennessee mistakes, which that's what you have to do against, which was then the number one team in the country.
Yeah.
So you have to take advantage of moments and force teams to make a mistake. And that's what Clemson's doing. And then just the crazy offensive showing that they had at Georgia Tech this weekend was something that anybody who's in their regional, because they're in the hosting conversation now, it's so crazy. They went from like in the beginning of the season not being ranked to now like in the top, being a top 16 seed. They're gonna be a tough offense to beat.
Oh man. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. And to go into that environment at McWhorter, which all about it living there. So that's gonna be really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then looking quickly, I want to call out GCU at number 23 because they are representing the WAC, like we said. And they actually locked down the regular season title in the conference. This is their third time doing that in the last 4 years. They have had 5 straight conference series sweeps. They have a program record 17-game win streak right now. And they have 2 amazing players on both sides of the ball as well. So with Savannah Kirk being in the box, she's hitting over 500 right now. And then Megan Golden in the circle, her ERA is barely right around 1. And they're both top 3 in the nation right now. So speaking of, regionals and things, I feel bad for whoever's going to end up having them potentially in their regional, because that's crazy.
Which will probably be Arizona or UCLA,
Usually.
just how it works out. And that sucks. That sucks because it sucks for Arizona or UCLA, especially when you're one of like the top teams in the country. And then just because of driving distance, you get stuck with like a elite pitcher or elite offense. Like it's still, but I just feel also like that's where our sport is going, where it's not as unlucky anymore. Like everyone is that good. And it feels like everyone is going to have somebody in that mid-major driving range of that they're going to have to get stuck with in their regional that's going to be able to compete with you. And, above all, that's what you want. You don't want an easy cakewalk.
True. It's true. I feel like, UCLA, like you said, they're sometimes the ones who get them.
Yeah.
They notoriously have a tough regional.
Totally.
But I think it serves them later on. I mean, they got to the World Series, right? After a tough start last year. Like those things come back to help you in the end, even if it feels hard at the time.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, with that said, maybe we should roll right into the recap, because plenty more to talk about from this past week. feel like we could start in a lot of different places, but also starting with Texas OU feels right.
Does feel right.
We were talking about it over the weekend and stuff too, but who wasn't, because what a series and what
Yeah.
meant to get that sweep.
I feel like year after year, that's the series that's circled on the calendar, right? Like, that's going to be a huge rivalry weekend. The fans get really into it. It just means a lot to these fan bases. The OU Texas hatred is real. So, and obviously they've been so elite in our sport the past 4 or 5 years. Really. So it's always really fun to watch them get after it. So competitive. I was locked into every inning of that series. Just so fun to watch two of the best teams in the country in such a huge weekend as far as SEC standings goes, as far as national standings go, as far as what the committee was. All members of the committee were probably watching that game. So it just probably insane and such a huge weekend for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Insane.
Well, and peaking at the right time, it's like this is the time. I mean, for them to end, and we talked about this too, their SEC slate with Texas and Florida is insane, first off. But they like to have this is exactly what they need going into Gainesville, for example. Like they needed this kind of momentum. And you said it, the bitter rivalry. To me, I'm like, that always adds more elements to it because there's this level of familiarity. Even though it's all new in the SEC, that is familiar, no doubt. And there's almost this like level of anger when you have like your arch rival.
Yeah.
You said the bitter part of the rivalry, at least between the lines. So to have that and then senior weekend and just lots of things to manage with your emotions and mentally on top of like the actual softball going on the field. I feel like it was a big testament to the foundation that OU has built, that championship mindset they talk about, because that really does seem like a differentiator to me. They have seemed to have, even though Texas has been right there, this is a World Series, Champ Series rematch that we just witnessed. But they seem to have that edge over the Longhorns. There's something about the Sooners for the Longhorns, at least recently. They get in their head a little bit. There's something about it, but that mental edge is there.
Yeah, well, there's also something about when your program has historically been the one to win all of the games. Yeah. The amount of confidence that brings you. You could see it as pressure or you could see it as confidence. So you have a lot of newbies on the OU starting lineup card, but historically, like they run it,
Yeah, true. It's an expectation. It's a standard. It's part of it.
Yeah. So just like a part of going into the game being like, hey, they know, like they took the series last year in Austin, but they haven't taken it or even a game period in Norman in a long time, correct?
I think that's right. Yeah.
I don't remember the exact, I wanted to say it was like 11 years or something insane that it's been that long that they haven't taken a game in Norman. So whether you're part of the teams that have done that or not, that's going to contribute to a little bit of your confidence and just know. True. And then on the flip side, if you're the Texas Longhorns, like you hear that stat as well, and you're like putting a lot of pressure on yourself for you guys to be the one. And throughout the season, they've, for the most part, been above OU in the rankings. So probably a little bit of, we should do this. So it's definitely more weighted than just what we see on TV.
So true. And we're going to talk to Ella a little bit about it, or the experience of just being a part of it.
Yes. Can't wait.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out as well to Kirsten Deal, because she was dealing. I mean, the complete game went on Saturday. She only gave up 4 hits, but that was her first complete game since March 29th when she threw against Tennessee. And they are going to need her down the stretch. Obviously, Sam Landry is, a go-to arm for them, of course, but you have to be able to have options. So I think her being able to emerge in the moment the way that she did, like that is a great sign for them moving forward.
Huge.
Yeah.
That was a big question mark. It was like, okay, historically they've tried not to just rely on the one arm, right? And it felt like a lot of the year this year that they didn't really have a shot unless Sam Landry was on the mound, right? There's been a lot of question marks, and Kirsten Deal had such an amazing weekend and kind of showed, who we all thought she was coming in, right? So she's obviously highly rated recruit and has more responsibility this year. And so it was awesome to see like her thrive in a huge rivalry game when it could have been really easy to crumble a little bit. There was a lot of pressure on her and ended up having like probably the best outing of her career.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what a time to do it. Yeah.
It's
Totally.
so
And
cool.
we've talked about how like we're like, OU's fine, guys. OU's fine. You know, like they're
Yeah.
gonna be just fine. They still only have a few losses, and we saw that.
Yeah. About to like maybe win the SEC in their first year in the SEC when they had so many question marks about who was going to play where and what their identity looked like this year. So to be atop the SEC standings heading into the final weekend is pretty amazing for their program.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaks a lot to it for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of other things going on around the SEC though. Like tell me your thoughts, Amanda, because I know you got them.
Well, really huge for Arkansas to take 2 of 3 from Texas A&M. Obviously, a huge series for them. Arkansas has continued to get better each weekend and just play really, really well. So it's cool to kind of see them probably cement themselves as the top 8 national seed heading into the postseason. So that was huge for me because, you know, they've had a hard schedule. So to take the 2 of 3 from Florida in Gainesville and then go to A&M and take 2 of 3 from there too. And A&M is also not an easy place to play. So that was a huge takeaway for me. Ole Miss has been kind of a sleeper of like stealing some games here and there. So Ole Miss taking 1 from Tennessee was huge. Tennessee losing 2 on the week was not awesome for them, but they had some gritty teams in Clemson and Ole Miss that kind of shocked them a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was huge. Obviously, Tennessee still wins the series, but that's huge for Ole Miss and just like another postseason conversation of little nervous for whoever gets Ole Miss in their regional because they could shock you a game. They could they're one of those teams that can just have an unbelievable game and then the next game look like a different team. But you know, that's just how our game works sometimes. And obviously the Florida LSU series was interesting to say the least.
I was wondering what word you were going to pick.
Yeah. Very interesting. The fact that, you know, Florida goes down to Baton Rouge, takes game 1, 14-4 in run rule fashion, then loses the next game 2-1. So LSU comes on top 2-1, more of a pitcher's duel. Yeah. And then they had another offensive crazy game, really just in the 6th inning for LSU. They end up mercying the Gators in 6 innings. And yeah, it 10-2, I think. So yeah, interesting, crazy weekend. Sydney Berzon is still really good at softball. So she can still sling that thing. So yeah, interesting weekend for the Gators. And a good weekend for LSU. They capitalized on some mistakes and had a huge win in game 2. And then obviously just really took it to the Gators in the 6th inning last night of taking advantage of mistakes and not swinging at balls and getting a huge win in front of a huge home crowd. So that's obviously great momentum for them. Florida State dropped 1 to Louisville, which was a little crazy. Obviously, I'm not worried about Florida State. That's just how it works sometimes. Like, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times. And I feel like we've talked about it so much of just how great everybody is this year across the board in our sport. And so, you know, on paper, you would think it would be an easy sweep. And that's just not the case for anyone really this year. Like, everybody is well coached. Everyone does their homework. Everybody scouts. Everybody has access to an incredible amount of analytics and video. And so everybody's working hard. So, but huge win for Louisville, and definitely and Florida State is still sitting at 16-2 in the ACC. 2 conference losses is really impressive. I don't care what conference you're in. Obviously, ACC has been a really strong conference this year. So those were probably my biggest takeaways. Trying to see if I have. South Carolina losing the series to Auburn. That was big for Auburn.
Yeah. They needed it. They started off so well. And then SEC, it was like they ran into a wall. So to have that especially this time of year where it's tough.
Totally.
I remember talking to Michaela Edenfield about this separately, and she was like, I call this the dog days of the season. I'm like, you are so right. April is definitely that. So they needed
hard.
it.
You get tired. It's like, and especially Auburn, when they haven't been able to find a lot of positivity throughout grinding through some games and being on the losing end. So to be in April and win a huge series against a really good South Carolina team, like that's really good. And then obviously your Stanford Cardinal getting 2 wins out of 3 was huge for them against Virginia.
Yeah, and it was an interesting series too. I think really different than what you'd expect, at least based on what was on paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like going into it. I was obviously really looking forward to the series because, of course, it's a ranked matchup with 2 solid teams, first of all. But they're also like right there, sort of 5th and 6th in the ACC, respectively, which is kind of crazy. I think that speaks to the strength of the conference, to your point, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
They've both been setting offensive records this year. So I think that was an expectation initially going into the series, but it was a little bit different. I mean, it did not disappoint. There was the walk-off on Friday for Stanford, and then the rubber match on Sunday. It went down to the wire, and that's kind of what we expected from that type of a matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But there were really like some pitchers duels, especially in game 1 and game 3. A 4-3 win to start it off, and then 2-0 in game 3. So I do want to give credit to Virginia's pitching staff, because really in every game they did pitch well enough to win. Obviously led by the ace Eden Bigham, but really as a group they utilized multiple arms, and they all actually really brought it and kept them competitive in each and every game. And of course they had a great game in game 2 where they had 13 hits and score 9 runs, so that works. But all 3 games they were really right there, especially with a really potent Stanford offense this year. I thought that was impressive. Yeah. And then the senior days, this is across the board. But seeing it up close in person, in this particular case with Stanford, I've covered them and called their games for this class their entire career. So, it means not to steal from the SEC, but it does mean a little bit more, in those moments. And this class in particular, individually, they don't have like the longest list of accolades. That's something Coach Alistair mentioned at the, post-game celebrations. But this is a class that went to back-to-back Women's College World Series, 3 straight super regionals, and likely now it's going to be 4 NCAA tournaments, right? So they actually end up being one of the most successful classes as a whole.
Incredible. In
program history. It's super cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And one cool moment that I will say, just to give a shout out, because this is really cool. 5th year grad student Kaylin Koch, her twin sister Kennedy sang the national anthem before the game. She did it for Big Swing too, and I keep meaning to like shout that from the rooftops because I think it's cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
The family moments, those are the things across the country that we love to see.
So cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll welcome them into the alumni family soon, but not yet. There's still
not yet.
Plenty of business to take care
of. It's way more fun in the student athlete spot. So don't invite them yet.
Exactly. Yeah. You're actually not allowed.
You're not allowed. You don't want to be here. It's not fun. It's not as fun.
Yeah. Go away. Yeah. For now. Yeah. And speaking of some former PAC schools, ASU and their Texas Tech series. Specifically, Texas Tech, just kudos to them for the season that they've had in the Big 12. I mean, taking the series, they swept the doubleheader on Saturday. ASU did take a game, but they were able to lock in their first Big 12 conference title in program history. Wow. That's a big deal. 34 seasons, and you've been waiting, right, for this moment. And they're on track to surpass their program record in wins in a season, which is 42. They're should, by everything that we're seeing right now, do that for sure. So I think the takeaway too is like, if you invest, sometimes good things happen, right? Like there's a clearer path in the Big 12 without OU and Texas in the conference, of course.
Totally.
But they still had to execute. So bringing in like Jerry Glasgow, bringing in Nigel Kennedy, doing those things, like we are seeing some results from that. Yeah. I don't know. It's looking at the power conferences too. They obviously look a lot different than what we're used to seeing. But some of these new matchups that we just would not have probably seen. Some of these, I don't know about every single matchup, but multiple times during the ACC slate when I've been calling games, it's been like, oh, this is the first time this team has either ever met each other or in 10 years or in a very long time. And so to see some of these matchups like that and how they're playing out is that part is kind of fun with all the card shuffling that we've seen this year.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like seeing clips on social of like UCLA playing at Michigan this past weekend, like for a conference, series weekend, like that's crazy and just doesn't seem right, but also seems really cool. Like two tradition programs of playing a series during the regular season, like pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, those are like, we've seen those types of things in the postseason, but again, yeah. It's such a thing. I'm thinking like, of course, Bonnie Thole, who's leading it, but Hutch, you can't help but think of, right? And then like Lisa and it's just, it's very cool. The last call out that I wanted to make was a shout out to the Coastal Athletic Association. Campbell and College of Charleston, they made it interesting this past weekend. So Campbell was at the top of the CAA standings before the weekend, but then Charleston actually swept them, and they were all one-run games. So now they're right behind them in the top tier or section of the standings in the conference. The conference tournament has 6 teams. 5 have clinched already, including both of those teams. But I just want to keep an eye on what goes down at the end of conference play. We talked about how interesting it is this time of year with that. So
definitely.
Yeah. Well, we talked about how interesting OU Texas was and just how interesting OU softball is in general. But I think time for maybe to hear it from somebody who's actually a part of that. What do you think, Amanda?
Let's do it. You guys are in for a treat.
All right, here we go. We are so excited to have Ella Parker from OU with us today. Ella, I first of all love that you're repping it, the Sooner softball shirt. Gotta do it, here for it. How are you doing at this point in the season? Can we just start there, because it's home stretch a little bit right now?
First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on here. I'm really excited, but the season's definitely moved by really fast. And we just had senior weekend this past weekend, and it took me a little while to actually realize that the season is close to an end, but it's been really fun from this point on. But I'm really excited to see where we're headed and where we're going.
Does it almost feel like freshman year part 2, being in a new conference and new opponents every weekend? So does it kind of feel like freshman year all over again?
Absolutely. It's like like you said, just being in a new conference. It's like we're not playing against the teams we were used to playing last year, but a lot of new experiences for sure, and going to new places too. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. It's interesting because you had such a huge freshman year. I mean, I feel like that's actually even underselling it, right? In terms of you individually, but then also as the team. And I remember you chatting with our D1 colleague, Paige Halstead, after winning the national championship. And you talked about how grateful you were just to have that experience as a freshman. But what's the mentality like here in your second year? Obviously new experiences, like you just said, but just for you, your approach, since you do have a year under your belt?
I think, again, just going into this new year, I was ready just to focus on what was ahead and not focus on what happened in the past. I think a lot of us returners were just focused on starting a new journey, honestly, and really looking through the front windshield rather than the rearview mirror.
I love it. And obviously this year battled a little bit of some injuries and have been grinding through a little bit. What do you think that you've learned the most about yourself just in this new season and finding a little bit of adversity and pushing through, obviously off a huge weekend against Texas? So you're definitely finding your way and doing just fine, but would love for you to share with us what you've learned most about yourself this year.
I think just being able to rely on my teammates. I know my teammates have my back, and I know that I'll have their back, but being able to just allow myself to be, I guess, vulnerable, and know that my teammates have always got me covered. And I know that if they ever needed it, it's a two-way street. So it's like just being able to lean on them.
There's nothing quite like the OU softball fan base. Can we agree on that? First off.
Yes.
So with that being said, just the experience of being a part of that community, the local community as well, obviously the atmosphere at Love's Field, like there are so many elements that go into being an Oklahoma Sooner, but to actually experience it, what are those types of emotions like?
The fans, they show up, and they show up in a really big way, especially this past weekend. It was just so when we didn't really know what the schedule was going to be like due to the weather, it was just, we were so thankful to have them, and they really made this weekend so much more fun for us. And that's where everywhere we go, Sooner fans show up for us, and we appreciate it so much. And them showing up for us does not go unnoticed. And just being able to have them in our back pocket, in Love's Field supporting us is just so big for us.
You spoke about leaning on your teammates and kind of relying on them. And I got the opportunity to go to Norman in February and just a few weeks ago. So got to be in your space a little bit and saw you training a lot on your own with Cassidy Pickering. So I just would love for you to share with us your friendship, what that kind of looks like between you guys, but also how you guys make each other better, because that was the coolest part for me, was to see you guys not in practice time, being in the cage on your own, working together and getting better. So that's the stuff that, the average fan doesn't see. And I was so thankful that I got to see it, but I would love for you to share a little bit about that relationship and how you guys make each other better.
It's funny you ask about Cassidy, because for the longest time when we played each other in travel ball, it was like we kind of were enemies, just playing on two different teams. But coming here, just being together, living with her last year was so awesome, just because we grew a lot closer, not only on the field, but off the field. And being able to go hit with her and a couple other girls like Nelly and Bella and Ilana, being able to go hit with them before or after practice, or just random off days, we love to do. We love to challenge each other. We have a lot of competition in that. And I think that's what really makes us better, is that we push each other to be better, just being super competitive. But we enjoy our time in the cages, and we have a lot of fun with it.
Well, it seems like some of the results have come for you too, even on an individual level. You've passed now. I think you're aware of this, I would think, but even if you're not, we'll make the world aware of it if they don't know. You've passed 100 career starts, 100 career hits, runs, and RBIs, and you're just a sophomore, and the season's not even over yet. So what do you think the key is to helping you keep it 100?
Ooh, I see you, Jenna.
Thank you. Thanks, Amanda. Thank you.
You ate with that. Yes. I try not to think about it all. I just want to stick to my game plan. Not trying to make any moment too big. And I think that's what really helps me, just kind of feel less stress and not putting too much pressure on myself, but just playing it one pitch at a time, day by day, not trying to do too much with it.
Okay, Ella Parker said I ate, so I just
mic drop right there, Jenna.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. My life is made, so appreciate it.
Ella, you are one of many Batbusters that have had incredible success at the collegiate level, but specifically at Oklahoma. It feels like it's a pipeline at this point. The Batbusters find their way to Norman. So you're playing alongside a lot of your former teammates. So what do you think that does for you, just having that, history with your teammates, and obviously you guys just finding so much success and such a home in the OU system?
Just makes it feel like we're playing like we're 14 years old again. It's really cool because it's our second family, and we're all playing together again. And I never really thought that we'd all be able to play again, together again. So being able to have Abby and Ilana come back, and even Gabby, it's just so cool to have our Batbuster family back together.
So special. And Tiara Jennings coaching first. You've got them all there.
Yes. Yeah, we do. So thankful. Really cool to see just Tiara, and growing up watching her and being able to grow up with her and just see her grow as an athlete has been really cool to see.
Got another Batbuster right here too. I love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for letting me join.
I had to give this shout out.
Gotta do it. I respect it. I respect it a lot. And that's another thing that I think is cool about OU in general, the athletic department, is the support between sports too. I think I saw you supporting women's gymnastics, for example, and the softball team doing it. Can we all agree, first of all, that OU is a softball school and a women's gymnastics school? Because I feel like that is
that part.
Yes.
Come on, right?
Yes. We are huge gymnastics fans. I don't know how many meets we went to. I think we went to at least 3 or 4 meets this year. But we got to go and we had our perfect 10 signs. We are such big fangirls, and just seeing them and just being able to call them friends as well is really cool. But huge fangirls, love them.
I love that. Speaking of signs and stuff, I saw your alumni were pretty crazy this weekend out there cheering for you guys for a huge home weekend against Texas. So what does it mean for you to see your alum come back and cheer so hard for you guys, just as if they were on the field with you?
It means the world. But I remember talking to Nicole May a couple weeks ago about how excited she was just for this specific series. And they showed up. Along with the fans, they showed up. You can hear them all throughout the field. You can hear them. They are very passionate, and I absolutely love it. And they were amazing.
So many layers to this past weekend with the rivalry, with senior weekend, with the alums in the house, like so many things going on. How do you sort of manage the emotions through all of that? Because that's a lot of good stuff, but still a lot.
Like I said, again, I didn't realize it was senior weekend until the week before. So not to get emotional about that, I had to kind of gaslight myself and tell myself that I'm not sad. I'm not going to cry. But going in, obviously playing against Texas, we all wanted to just treat it like it was another series, not take anything for granted, but also go in with a lot of confidence. We trained, we prepared for all of this, and we're confident. And I think a lot of this was it was a very good team effort, but also we were just focusing on what we can bring as a team to make each other better. So just focusing on that really helped us kind of stay within ourselves and not really let the emotions get too ahead of us.
A lot of new places this year playing in the SEC. I'm curious if you had a favorite away trip. You still have one to come, which is obviously, I'm saying that that's going to be the best one. But I would love to hear if you've had a favorite away trip this year in the SEC, just exploring new towns, and in the land of it just means more.
I really enjoyed Alabama. That crowd was, I've never felt a crowd like that before, but being able to just go around Tuscaloosa was really nice, and being able to be in that stadium felt World Series like, and you could feel it. But I'm also really excited to go to Florida.
I'm going to be there heckling you, Ella. I'm going to be there yelling as loud as I can.
I'm really excited to go to Gainesville.
Batbuster friends off the field, and then once you hit the field,
it's
game time. 100%.
I love it so much. I can't wait. We're gonna have to report back, obviously.
Yeah, we'll do an update video.
Yeah, there you go. Go. Well, Ella, I would ask you from your perspective. I feel like a lot of people from the outside are obviously very impressed by what OU has done in recent years and historically, but how would you describe OU softball? Like, what do you think the real essence is of this team and this program?
I think a lot of the stuff that makes us good is what's off the field. Coach Gasso talks a lot about creating the whole woman and the boss lady, as you will. But her focusing on your image outside of softball is what really makes us like kind of grow up in a sense. And that's what I really appreciate about Coach Gasso, and I know a lot of the other girls here appreciate about her, is just that she's not just focused on you as a softball player, but you as a person outside of that softball world. And I think that gives us a lot of ease, so we don't have to feel a lot of pressure about just like being one thing, but just being a whole well-rounded person.
I love that so much. Speaking of the whole person, what are you majoring in? What do you see life looking like after college softball? What do you want to do once all of this is unfortunately over? You have a long way to go for that, but just wondering, like, what are you interested in other than softball?
So I'm a psychology major, and I would like to pursue a career in sports psychology.
So
I
cool.
think that would be my way of kind of staying in sports, but not actually doing sports. Over COVID or the past couple of years, I've grown a lot more interested in finding ways to resolve mental health issues, and just from personal experience, as well as like seeing people that have dealt with that. It's made me really interested in growing into that realm. And so, yeah, I just really wanted to pursue that.
So cool.
That's super cool. I was a psychology minor, and it was fascinating. So I'm so excited for you, just on a personal level, because I think it's such a cool path to take, especially like you said, marrying some of your favorite things, like with sports and everything, and your own experience. You're the perfect type of person to do something like that.
Yes, the classes I'm taking are really interesting, and it's actually really fun. But yeah.
Yeah. And do you guys have finals coming up? Actually, speaking of managing that with softball, see, people forget student athlete, a lot going on. How's that?
Same. So our finals are the same week as the SEC tournament. So I have them scheduled for when we're in Georgia, but yeah.
You're like, TBD. We'll see.
TBD. We'll see.
Well, I think Oklahoma as a whole is pretty understanding of the whole softball schedule. So I'm sure your professors will cut you some slack and give you ample time to complete them.
Yes.
Right?
Softball school. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, it's softball first. What are you looking forward to most? Obviously, last series, huge series coming up for you guys. You guys have a huge opportunity ahead to win the SEC regular title, your first year in the SEC. So obviously that's huge. And then leading into the SEC tournament. So what are you looking forward to coming up in the next week and a half?
I think the common goal with all of us is just growing as a team. We are obviously coming off of a big series, but just being able to take that into our next few weeks ahead is what we're really looking forward to. And like I said before, we really grew into our superpowers, and that's what we really have been focusing on this past week. And so just being able to take that into our next few weekends is what we're really looking forward to.
Superpowers. I really like that. I think that's cool. I feel like the championship mindset that everyone talks about, every time we'll ask you or even some of your teammates something about like, oh, you have this big moment coming up or this big thing on paper. What's that like? You always all pretty consistently go back to team and go back to process and go back to the little things. Do you feel like that is that championship mindset, or can you tell us more about really what that means to you all?
To me, the championship mindset is, like you said, just focusing on the little things. It's the things we can control, and being able to manage that to the utmost of our ability is what we really focus on. And just like the things you said, the little things is what really matters when it comes to the big time. So being able to focus on our preparation or how we go about things is what we're going to focus on, just so we're ready for what's to come.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ella. We appreciate you taking some time with us in this crazy time. We wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Oh, thank you.
And
loaded.
I was crossing my fingers.
Oh, come on.
I was going to say, that was loaded.
I'm just kidding. Guys, like, I always root for Ella Parker specifically. We have that Batbuster blood in us. So always I'm rooting for you, except this weekend.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
You're on it.
Although, Ella,
I will always be honest with you. I hope you hit really hard line drives every single time. I hope you have great at bats. I just hope you get out.
Okay.
So like, I hope your swing feels great. Like, I hope everything good is great other than the outcome.
Okay. The outcomes have been good for people who have come on this show, though, Ella. I'm just
I
telling
know.
you.
That's
We've
why
been
I was
talking
really
about it.
nervous.
Yeah,
Like when she was like,
afterward.
"Oh, let's have someone from OU," and I was like, "Oh, that sounds great. That means they're about to have another huge weekend."
Just saying.
It's been really good luck. Not like you need it, but we've been taking credit.
Exactly.
Thanks again, Ella. We really appreciate it.
Thank
and
you
seriously, good luck this week. I'll see you there. I'll see you also at the SEC tournament. So
Yes.
so much quality time. Let's go.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
She's awesome. Great choice as usual, Amanda. I mean, that sums it up for me.
She's pretty great. And it was awesome to get her on here for our listeners to hear a little bit more about her and what makes OU softball so special.
Yeah. Yeah. And shout out to Players Collective. Not only are you in the Batbuster family together, but also Players Collective. And shout out to Leslie Feldman specifically, too.
What elite families that I get to be part of. Lucky me.
So true.
Lucky
You're
me.
lucky.
Let's go.
Yeah. Gosh, now I'm really letting that settle in, how cool my co-host is, honestly.
Please. Honorary member, Jenna. Honorary member.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Love it.
So you're calling me an honorary member. Ella said that I ate. Like, this is a good day for me overall, you know?
Mic drop.
Just saying. Anyway, we do have our plays of the week as we usually do. And
we got some good ones.
Were pretty fun. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's jump into it. So I'm kicking us off in this category this time around. And basically just want to give a shout out right off the bat. Coastal Carolina center fielder Claire Hutchins was just fearless on this play at the wall. And I will leave it there and let's just go ahead and watch it.
That one's fell for a 2-1 count. That one's hit high. Tracking. Going. What a catch on the wall! Oh, my goodness! I know she's going to feel that one in the morning.
I also couldn't help but laughing at she's going to feel that one in the morning.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. The call is even better.
Right. It's like, because you're kind of thinking it, but I wasn't like consciously thinking about it. It was more subconscious. Then he said, I was like, you're right. We were all thinking it. You're so right. But just, I mean, we talk about all the time how like certain coaches will fire us up and we're ready to run through a wall for them. And I feel like she just took it literally. And like we said, it's the home stretch, right, of the regular season. Everyone's tired. People have finals. For them, the Sun Belt is down to the wire too. And she just brought it. And I loved it.
Laying it all on the line. So good. Yeah. Such a great choice. All right, it's a battle of the center fielders for the plays of the week this week. So I also chose a center fielder this week. Reagan Johnson from Arkansas made an unbelievable catch against Texas A&M this weekend. So I'll let it play.
Into center field. What a catch by Reagan Johnson, and robs Kennedy Powell and keeps a run off the board, at least one run off the board.
Definitely kept at least 2 runs off of the board. Might maybe have been a inside the park home run with how shaded they were. If that gets past Reagan Johnson, Kennedy Powell is so fast. Like that saved minimum 2 runs, maybe 3. She is so incredibly speedy. So what an unbelievable catch to end the inning. A huge series, obviously, but like you said, putting your body on the line, laying it all out. I thought she had no chance at this ball off the bat, and then she really came out of nowhere and made an unbelievable catch. So huge shout out to Reagan Johnson. That was really fun to watch.
Seeing her like dive over the Texas A&M logo in center field too, I was like, that just it felt like it represented the energy they brought to this series.
Definitely. It was crazy.
Yeah. One of my teammates, Alyssa Haver, who was a 4-time All-American at Stanford, outfielder, true lefty. You guys would get along. Let's put it that way. But she used to always say like Audi's rule. And I felt like that was this week for us with plays of the week. And to be fair, you picked your center fielder first. I will give you credit. but I was inspired by you.
No, I love it. I love some shout outs for the Audis. You know, I'm here for it.
Yeah, of course. Got to give them some love.
Yes.
Always. Well, and we do have some love with the win of the week and some laughs, I'd say, with the whiff of the week. So we can head into that too. So starting off with the win of the week, we talk about wins on the field all the time. But I think this one extends off the field a little bit as well. So if you're watching on video, we can see Sam Landry tweeted this, and she actually tagged and included her former high school teammate, Sophia Simpson from Texas. So they actually both went to Barbers Hill High School together, and that high school program ended up tweeting their support of them because it was Sam's senior day, but the Texas seniors were also honored by OU, which is also very nice and something that a lot of programs do, but I think it's always a very classy move when they do that. And I think it's cool to see this because, you know, obviously they're both highly competitive pitchers on opposite sides. We talked about how bitter this rivalry is, but they're still giving love to each other because they might be enemies on the field, but they're friends before and after the game, right? And you just love to see it.
Yeah, so cool to, you know, those special relationships. And then like what a special moment for it to come full circle is the fact that she was going to be in town for Sam's senior day, and then Sam could be the one to give her a hug and transfer the rose or the flower, whatever they give to honor the other team seniors. So cool, so special. And there could be some hatred and rivalry for sure, but there's a lot of history with a lot of these athletes too. So really cool.
Yeah. And Sam gets the sweep, right, with OU. She gets a golden ticket for AUSL, just has a huge weekend, and then she's still showing love to Sophia. You know, I just think it's a great example of this part of our softball community.
Totally. Yeah. In a less heartwarming position, I have this week's whiff of the week. So going back, talking about those Clemson Tigers, the sniper has been out and about this season, and the biggest sniper of them all was in Atlanta, Georgia this weekend. So I'll let this play out.
Into center field, back on it, Edgeman. It is off the top of the wall. Noller being waved around. She will score without a throw, and it's back-to-back RBI doubles for Clemson.
I laughed so hard every time I watch it. So a huge hit by Macy Cindron. Julia Noller is standing on second base, running her hardest, laying it all on the line for her Clemson Tigers, and falls right on her face just a few steps before home, has like 3 more big steps to make, and then lays out again. So double the dive. I'm sure the first one hurt pretty bad, but it was just hysterical to see like her like get down and then only have like 2 steps. It's almost like slow-mo of like her trying to just get to home to be safe. But shout out to Julia Noller. Hope you're feeling okay on this Tuesday, and hope you're recovering from that mean sniper that got you.
I know we're like, oh, we hope, you know, Claire Hutchins is feeling okay after running into the wall. Well, we hope that Julia's feeling okay too.
Seriously.
I have to say
funny.
this because this came up when Clemson was at Stanford too, chatting with Valerie Johnson, SID, shout out to her. But this moment felt like the perfect use of one of their like puns that they use, which is to Noller is to love her. And I feel like her teammates probably, you could hear the crowd like cracking up laughing too. It was just, I feel like everyone who follows the program just got a kick out of it. Yeah.
So good. I love it. I love it.
So good. And they're fine. They beat Tennessee. They swept Georgia Tech. They're good to go. So, hey, journey's not always pretty.
A little humor never killed nobody.
Exactly.
Love it.
It's so good. Well, we're, I'm sure, in for seeing quite a bit more amazing softball this week, and probably some more funny moments too.
Yes. Hopefully.
Yes. I mean, in terms of what's next, the D1 team is going to be all over the place as usual. Justin McLeod will be at the OU Florida Series in Gainesville too, Amanda. So that's going to be an interesting one. Rhiannon Potke will be at Tennessee as well for another big series in the SEC. And then Eric Lopez and Victor Anderson, they got another In the Circle podcast presented by 643 with multiple guests this week. But if you missed it on Monday, they actually spoke with the NCAA softball D1 committee chairperson. So we're talking about how interesting and how tough of a job they got this year for the selection show and everything. Well, you can get some insight from there as well. And then also some AUSL golden ticket recipients and future draftees like Danica Coffey from LSU and more. So some exciting stuff there. And then I'm going to be seeing a lot of softball in person. I will be on your time zone, Amanda. First, I'm calling the last game of the regular season with Santa Clara at Stanford for a midweek. That is actually the last game in the football stadium this year. It has been shared publicly now that Stanford will not be able to host for postseason, regardless of national seeding. It's a bummer. It's a bummer, especially after big swing, right? Like there's so much momentum and things. But long story short, there were for months now, for a long time, there have been Coldplay concerts planned at the end of May in Stanford Stadium, as well as graduation shortly after. And they need more time to be able to tear down and set up for those events than they originally thought. So a bummer, but I'm excited to be a part of the last one for a historic season in the football stadium.
Absolutely.
But then when I get to be on your time zone, it's because I'm leaving on a 10-day trip. I'm going to start with Virginia Tech hosting Florida State for a very important ACC series. They're 1 and 2 in the standings. I've never been to Blacksburg. So anyone who has, give me some recs because I'm here for it.
I've been there.
Tell me everything. We'll chat. We'll chat after this. But Amanda, you're locked in. Like you said, you're going to be at the series, et cetera. But the college draft for the AUSL.
Yes, that's coming up May 3rd, which is going to be really exciting. I cannot wait to tune in and see who my teammates are going to be. I'm also going to be driving down to Gainesville tomorrow as a big Florida Gator fan off the clock, just there to support the Gators, my alma mater, and see my people, but so excited to get down to Gainesville and watch some good softball. And
since our last episode, more golden tickets given out. I mean, A&M's Emily Kennedy, Arizona's Devin Netz, Sam Landry from OU, as we mentioned, and Virginia Tech with Corey McMillan, and counting. There's more, even as we're recording this, coming as we speak. So super, super exciting. Anytime I get to see people who get to play with you, Amanda, it's a little extra exciting. I'm not going to lie.
So exciting. I can't wait to lock in for the draft.
It's going to be great. Yeah. And also on that note, in terms of, getting to see Amanda play, congratulations on being named to the USA roster for the World Games and being a part of Team USA once again for USA Softball. Love seeing you in the red, white, and blue. Always assume that you would be on this roster anyway, but it's always when it's official and you get to play with all these amazing women.
Thank you, Jenna. So sweet. I'm so thankful, so excited. Obviously, we have a new head coach this year in Coach Gasso, so really excited to see her direction and her vision for our program come to life, and really excited that I get to be part of it and obviously play with some unbelievable people. I'm so excited for a great summer of getting better with some of my favorite people. I always just laugh really hard when I'm around this group, but I also get a lot better too. So that's my dream come true, to wear those colors, laugh, and get better at softball. Literally pinch me. Yeah, so honored, but so excited, so thankful. So thank you. That was very sweet.
Yes. Cannot wait. And also so many of your teammates for USA also in AUSL moving forward. So that's exciting. And May 3rd, 9 a.m. Eastern for everybody to tune into that, because that is going to be huge. We'll get a little taste of some of the folks we'll see for USA as well.
Yes.
And the last but not least moment that we will bring up is a discount code. So if you made it this long, congratulations. Once again, you get a little treat. So actually, we have refreshed the website. We're so excited about it. It definitely needed some upgrades. The content has been wonderful, but just the functionality and just it looking good, right? Yeah. We talk about it. You look good. You feel good, play good, all those things. So the website, with that, D1 Glow Up 20. If you use that discount code, you can get 20% off of subscriptions with D1Softball. D1 Glow Up 20.
Love it.
Utilize that and you will be good to go. Well, thank you as always for joining us. Again, my favorite co-host on the planet, Amanda Lorenz, and myself love having you every week.
Thanks for joining us. See you next week.